Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, today we have two very different maps. The first one is a very solid one, doing quite well on the workshop at the moment. It's not too bad at all, a real-life location, or at least inspired by a real-life location off to Japan. Now, this creator's never made a map before, which means
it's my first map.
That's right, and they've done a pretty fine job. I like this one more than I'm going to let on. Today's second map's by a creator reviewed once in the past, back in episode 1514. No, sorry, 1514 episodes ago, back in episode 17. It got the seal of approval. Let's see if they've maintained those standards over the years. But before we do standards, that's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for supporting the channel. Today's first map is Sanriiku by jiafth. Okay, so this is a first map. It's probably from a creator who's seen the show. There's a couple of hints on the workshop page that might indicate they've seen the show. Let's see a little bit more buildable space in the start square. I know it's not a big buildable space sort of city, but as you can tell from the terrain heights, but I'd like to see a little bit more of that flat land in that start square. Resources are mostly for detailing by the appearances, but I'm sure you'll find a way of using them. And if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, you've got some salmon and some anchovies there to grab out of the water. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, there are a few bits. It's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one. We'll be using the Stray Cats Territory Nature Reserve theme, the realistic 1.2 LUTs, because that's the recommended one. And there's a few things to subscribe to. There's a few things in the description that they haven't been able to find. So I'll run through those as we do start doing over the flyover. And also you'll see in the comments, name missing can be found under new map. That's correct. It's one of those maps that has new map as the name. I'm going to highly recommend, of course, if you're uploading a map, I do have a how to upload to the workshop tutorial. A few trees under the road there. We'll ignore that. We're quite close to the edge of the map. I have a tutorial which will show you how to get your map, not to be called new map, and hopefully help you to find those missing assets and bits and bobs. Now, the missing assets that we are looking for are Pidelmo's ultra low tried trees, Ronix 69's tunnel entrances, and Grey Flame's mountain brown surface rocks. And I obtained all that information using the loading screen report, which is pretty easy to do. I've got a tutorial for the loading screen as well. Check my tutorials list. There's two things for you. jiafth, if you're watching this one, you're not done too bad. Not too bad. We do have one little problem that a few of you may have spotted. Have you spotted the little problem already? Come on, regulars to What's map. You may have spotted. It's right there. It's right under your nose right now. A little bit of glitching along the terrain there. They do say in the description that they got to a point and they couldn't be bothered to go and do the minor little fixes with the rail, but I think there's a little bit of minor little fixing with the highways as well. But overall, the standards are pretty strong. We're elevated at ground level with the road there. We're joining the rail now, obviously, with the road, which is causing a little bit of terrain misfiguration. Once you elevate at ground level, it just squishes the land underneath. It can look very clean. It won't take very long to go along there with the smoothing brush and just to clean it up anyway. So the rail's going to peel off and go through the hill on the right, and the video is going to stutter just before we get to Ronix's tunnels. I don't know what exactly caused this one. Sometimes it happens in the recording process, but when we stop stuttering, you're going to see me zooming in on the little problem that is down there with the roads. There we go. You may notice we've got a little bit of a change in the road surface from the left to the right. If I use the picker tool, you'll see this one is indeed Mass Transit DLC. Whereas if we go across to the right hand side, that there is Network Extensions 2. Yes, Network Extensions 2 is required for this map, and thus technically, as it's not listed as a requirement, the map is technically a little bit broken. Okay, but if you've got network extensions too, and you've now got the information to have network extension, it won't be broken for you, but it will be broken for anybody who's not seen the show, and I have to review based on somebody who doesn't know anything about the map apart from what's in the description and the links and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, down to, this is start square territory here. Not a huge amount of buildable space, but enough to get started, and some very slick intersection work. Again, a little bit of smoothing of the terrain work, because elevated at ground level is causing some really sharp shark's teeth going on up there. I mean, it's quite an aesthetic look, but obviously not intended at all. And then down to our little trumpet intersection. Again, this is very slickly done. Again, we've got a mix of mass transit and network extensions, 2 roads. But down there, that's the meat of the map over there, which I'm guessing is like a second tile kind of part of the build, second and third tiles over there. We're going to stick to the highway rather than going down and through the meat of the map. We're going to follow the highway because I'm loving the shape of this highway. Now, I've not had a look at the real life location, but if this highway follows this kind of route, and this map is inspired rather than an actual true recreation, if this highway, well, let's put it this way, it wouldn't surprise me if this highway were accurate. We've even got a toll road on the side there, which makes some sense as well. And the route that this takes is just pleasing. It's out of the way, gives you plenty of room to get on and build into the middle of the map. We've got a few trees underneath it, but they are pretty easily removed. But I always leave them in there so that you guys can see what's there. There's no point in me cleaning them up, then you won't get a true representation of the map. Another nice little intersection there, a little bit of terrain manipulation just to clean that one up as well, and that will take this map to the next level. But I'm liking the shape of this. This is a decent solid City Skyline city shape, I would say. A little bit of inspiration. In fact, if it wasn't for network extensions too, I think we could score this map quite nicely on gameplay potential for inspiration, because there's room there for inspiration. Oh yeah, obviously this is a Japanese build, and we are rolling on the right hand side of the road. I know I only spot these things too late, but that's a BonBon error, not a jiafth error. Liking the shapes of the hills, loving the way that the nature reserve theme works here, and of course a realistic 1.2 LUT. I think it just works very nicely for the map. It just makes it pop just a little bit, and it just feels like a good strong effort. We've got some pretty nice rivers as well. This one struggles a little. It's just hanging in there. Apart from, you've got a couple of trees in the water there, but paddling, not quite wearing their trunks, those ones. But this river on the whole is almost very, very, very good indeed. Loving this little detail area. The detailing areas with the rocks and the reeds are all very lovely. I mean, genuinely, they are all very lovely. And you don't need to have these on every river at every single point, but just little feature areas like this just to bring them together. I think the amount of detailing on that river is about right. If there's a little more flow on it, it would be great. This is a river with a lot more flow on it. This is a good river. This one here is a very good river. We've got a little bit of detailing on it as well, just to make it a little bit more interesting, and it's a good shape. That for me is superb. Very happy with that one. However, if we come over to the one here, and again, we will have this discussion. We've been here before. Rivers that are near to the edge of the map that are a bit lumpy bumpy, do they matter? Well, if they're there, yes, they do. And this one is a bit lumpy bumpy, and it struggles, and just needs a little bit more love and time spent on it. And I know it's a big job, because working with rivers is a big job, but hey, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing. Well, do you not think? Anyway, we've got down here, if we have a little look at this intersection, they get in there where I'm looking for. It's down here. There we go. We've got on this one and on the other intersection as well a little bit of street lamp clipping. Of course, it doesn't affect the game, but it does look a bit silly, so we always pick that up as a detailing error. There we go. There's one there. Over here, we've got a few trees. Again, going for a paddle. Not quite needing to wear their trunks again, but they're pretty nice. Okay, just minimal detailing. And then we have this. Now, please, answers on the postcard. What the F is this? Right? There's nothing in the requirements list that this could be. And it doesn't actually interact. We've got some pipes or something, wires coming out the side of it. But this is a ghost item in the water. Now, I loaded the map twice, and this was here second time as well. So this wasn't a stray load first time round. This was a stray load both times round. It's weird, it's awkward, and let me show you. Alright, let's use picker and click on it. Nope, nothing coming up there. So we're going to do the next thing, which is to interact with it using move it. Everything selected, we'll draw a little marquee around it. Doesn't select it. So you can't use picker, you can't use the marquee. There is one other thing that it can be, and that occurred to me just as I was pulling away. It could possibly be a procedural object. So let's go into procedural objects and have a look at that. There we go, and there's no cross on it. So it's not a procedural object. I don't know what it is, where it came from, what's causing it. As I said, answers on a postcard, because I haven't seen anything like that for a while. And I need your advice, you expert bunch. There's always one expert in the bunch. Anyway, shipping routes. We have this shipping route that comes in. It waves about a bit. I don't mind the waving about too much. It's not really noticeable. And then it loops around. Basically, every single ship, you're going to get spawn shipping coming in and sailing in and out of the bay, not doing anything. There are some people that like that. There are some people that don't like that one. And then you make up your own mind whether that bothers you. Okay, that's all. If it had been just a single route in, it would have been just as good, in my opinion. Water flow in the start square, there really isn't any. We have got actually a lot of water. We got the river. It's a light flow river. But we got a lot of waterfront and a lot of nooks and crannies, so you can pump and draw, I feel, without poisoning your people. Just be a little bit careful, okay? Just be a wee bit careful when you pump the poo into the water. Anyway, what do you think of today's first map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. Use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. You know what to do, but make sure when you do it, you click on the correct map. What do I think of today's first map? Well, aesthetically, it doesn't do too bad. I really like this. However, there are the missing low-tide trees, the tunnel entrances, and the surface rocks, and that I feel was going to take a chink away. I was going to go for a lowish 4. But without knowing exactly how it's going to look, it's really hard. I think I'll have to go for a very high 3 stars. If you got everything, though, it is easily a low 4-star map. So good work. Detailing. Again, we've got a few niggly areas and a few missing assets, but overall the standards seem pretty solid. I'm going to go for a middly high 3. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. Middly high 3. And as for a gameplay potential, we do have the missing network extensions too, which means it has to get 1 star. However, I am inspired by this map, and if you have network extensions too, consider it having the seal of approval. If you don't, then it really, really, really doesn't, because it'd be very broken. Be right back after this. And on with today's second map. This map it just stood out by its thumbnail. But all it had was a thumbnail, the one lead image, and the name. That's all we had. Plus the fact that I recognised the creator's name from episode 17 of What's Map, where they got the seal of approval, but that's when the seal of approval is a little different from today. You were just basically the best map of 3 in a particular show, and this creator was the best map of the 3 on that particular show. Let's not put them down. See how they've gone on in the last few years as well, because The Island by rolecanda, first of all, The Island, excuse me, Excuse me. I think that's copyrighted to me, is it not? Is it not? It's not. No, you're right. There's your start square. That looks pretty buildable. Only the one source of water there, so that might cause a problem for a few of you. Terrain heights are pretty flat across the whole and an interesting shaped island to work with. Resources, it's a lot of farmland. Okay, we've got a few other bits and bobs there, but mostly farmland. And if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, fishing is, we've got shellfish out to sea and anchovies around the coast. Okay, this is all we had to work on, but this had a chance of being an exceptional map. Based on that single image and that description, had a chance of being exceptional. We are 100% vanilla. We're using the vanilla temperate theme and the realistic 1.2 LUT. So yes, last seen 1,514 episodes ago, and I'm going to tell you, that makes me feel really, really tired. And to those of you that's watched every single one of them, and just let everybody else know in the comments, if you've seen every episode of What's Map, now's the time. And if you remember Rolecanda's first map, now's the time to mention that as well. Now, the standards were a little bit different all those years ago, and I'm going to tell you that while I'm still going to have one or two grumbles here, they have definitely come on as a creator. Speaking of grumbles, let's start off. We don't get a chance to really relax with this sort of nitpicking in the show, but I'm going to do it now anyway. This bridge, the ramp, I feel could be just a little bit smoother. I'm going to do that via the magic of Move It, and yes, I know there is a ramp tool, but I'm going to do this by hand. I find it quite cathartic to do these things by hand. So pick those two nodes. I'm going to come down to the side. I'm just going to lower them using the page down button until it looks a bit smoother. And there we go. I think that is an immediate improvement on that bridge. Now, there's more to talk about with the bridges, but we're not going to get to them right now. Well, then we'll save them for a moment. We come across the other side, and yeah, well, we come down to ground a few segments too late, I feel. And of course, we've got the slope again, the ramp coming down again. Again, there's nothing. We've seen way steeper ramps than that. So that ramp is perfectly okay on the vanilla style build, and this is a 100% vanilla map. But like I say, we can do better. We can do smoother. Here we go. There's another one. Wow, we're a long way out. Look how narrow that river is there, and how long we are elevated for. So we've got two segments in the middle, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 10 segments long. So we could remove 4/5 of that bridge. Remember, bridges are expensive to build, so why would you build a bridge 5 times too long? Because you're Elon Musk. Or you're playing Cities Skylines, because it doesn't really matter. Really, does it? Well, if you're playing actual in-game and you are on a limited budget and you're struggling for coin, then that's a different story, of course. Of course it matters. But realistically, if you're just playing Cities Skylines, it doesn't matter, does it really? No. Vanilla cloverleaf intersection for your start square. Your start tile is basically there with the bay. I think it's there. I'm lost where I am on the map, but this is the only intersection we're going to come across, so I'm gonna stick by my convictions and say that's where it is. And then over here we have the rail. We've got a little bit of rail, not too far from the start square. And then slopes again, based on a 100% vanilla build. That is a perfectly acceptable slope. True realists will hate me for saying it, but it's a vanilla build. It's fine. Okay. And then the highway comes down to ground. Now, look how it comes to ground after the sand over the beach. I like that, actually. Over here, though, we are going an extra 2, maybe 3 segments too far. We can come down to ground a lot sooner. But yeah, not coming down to ground on the beach makes sense to me. So I would say there's good there, and there's room for improvement there at the same time on different sides of the river. Just notice this little fella. One little bush down on the beach that just looks a little bit lost. Nothing wrong with bushes on the beach if they just feel part of the biome, and that one doesn't feel part of the biome. It's just a stray tree just doing its own thing. It's an interesting shaped map based around 25 tiles, which again, I think there's credit to be given for that, the framing, and also a few islands around the outside and a mainland as well. So it's a bit interesting. I would say there's something lacking in inspiration on the map for me. This is just for me personally. A few of you are going to go, no, that's absolutely what I'm looking for. Good. Get on and build on it then. Stop watching, sub it and start playing. But for me, I like to be directed by maybe some terrain changes or by forestry shapes. I've just switched the lines of terrain on. See how it's perfectly flat. Come over here, you'll see there you go, the contour lines right there. It's perfectly flat, so there's nothing around the middle of that map which is going to just sort of like inspire me to change the shape of a city or whatever. Looking to do a grid city on an island, on the other hand, well, why not? Why not? It pays your money, it takes your choice. And in this case, you pay nothing because it's a workshop map, which is good. Now over here on the side of the map, we have another road and rail coming into the 25 tiles. I think that just adds a nice little option. I'm not super excited by it, but I'll tell you what, better than it not being there. So that's a good decision there from rolecanda. Another bush on the beach and this little splinter island. Now you may have noticed that the theme doesn't match the thumbnail, but this is what automatically loaded in. I don't know which theme that rolecanda used. Looked like it might have been a one of Al's Los Angeles style themes or something like that, but I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm speculating, and I just use the theme which loads in with the map, unless that's told otherwise. We've got shipping routes. Excuse me. We have a shipping route that comes up here into the bay area there. I'd like to see a little shipping triangle in here, and then the shipping route just follows off and goes off to the edge of the map over there. We have a large chunk around the island with no available shipping routes. I'd like to have seen just like a couple of dead end routes coming in from the side of the map into those areas, just to give options to the player. But yeah, it's not absolutely essential. Just options are always fun. And then a water flow in the start square. Well, this is all the water that you have in the start square. There's no motion there. So please, please, please be very careful. Play about with your water towers until you can get in enough of a coast somewhere else to pump into, if that's what you like to do. And if you like to play with all the non-pollution things switched on, you do that. You have fun with that. But yeah. Oh, hang on. We've got to a couple of interesting detail areas. This one, I like this. It's simple. It's tidy. The essential lighthouse. Isn't she lovely? That's there for the BonBonBingo players. Link is in the description, as always. And then we have a little Bonbon Island over here. And again, this one's very similar to the first one in terms of detailing. We've got a little path leading up to the essential lighthouse in... What colour is that? Is that green? In green. I was going to say red. My colour vision's really flickering there. But yeah, it's a Bonbon Island. It's alright. It could do a little bit of cleaning up, but it's not far from being a very nice looking island. And it's not far from being a very nice looking overall map. I think there's some credit to go here. For me, far, far better than the map that I gave a seal of approval to last time. The only difference is we are now 4 or 5 years, I'm losing track of years, on from the last one. But you get to vote on this one. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. You know what to do. Just make sure you're voting on the correct map. What do I think of today's second map? Well, it's pretty nice. I'm gonna just, that's all I can say. It's pretty nice. I'm not blown away by any single aspect. I mean, these little detail areas are very sweet, but across the whole, the map is just pretty nice. I can't really go any higher than a medium-high 3, so we'll go with that. Detailing, nothing really holding it back, nothing really elevating it to the next level. It's not a map that I feel I can give 4 stars to, but equally, it's not a map I can penalise. I'm going to go for a medium-high 3. Gameplay potential. For me, it lacks that little bit of inspiration, and there's room for, let's say, some water movements, for some different shipping routes, maybe some extra connections, but all told, it's a medium-high 3. Rolecanda's The Island. Do you know what? It's very nice. That's all I can say for it. It's not going to blow you into the next universe, but sometimes you just want a nice island map. And that is a nice island map. Well done, Rolecanda. Sorry it was 14 episodes. 17 episodes. In from the start of the series. We need a new title for the show. Anyway, what do you think? What do you think? Are you part of the 20 and out elite? If you think you're part of the 20 and out elite, use the word of the day. And I'll be back very, very soon. Have a great one. See you then.